Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Yoder, and this is the Joshua Yoder Show. And today, my guest, this is someone who gets to hang out with and see a lot of Big Ten college football. Well, actually, just a lot of great college football. Actually, he and with basically he's the groundskeeper up at Penn State University. His name is Drew Yoder. Hi, Drew.
Hey,
So how many years has it been since you started doing this?
well, I've been full time on the grounds crew since 2018, but I went to school, Penn State, and while I was in school, I also worked on the grounds crew.
No, that's awesome. And being a lifelong Penn State guy, like you said you were, getting to go to college and then quickly finding a job there, you might have thought you hit the jackpot when you got that, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure. I didn't expect it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to talk about, since everyone talks about the college athletes, and deservingly so, they put in a lot of effort with what they do, but I don't think people realize the effort and time it takes to put in from the people behind the scenes, people to help put the stadiums put together, trying to clean everything up. And with you being a groundskeeper, I thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity to get people to understand, the behind the scenes and the people that don't normally get the recognition.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Now, you said you've been full time since 2018, correct?
Yep.
So how did that? So what really made you decide to become involved in grounds crew within Penn State, or just I guess be a grounds crew person in general?
It started on a campus tour. I was going to go to Penn State for wildlife and fisheries originally, and went on a usual campus tour and had some extra time at the end of the day, and they were taking kids out to the Valentine turfgrass research facility, and so I headed out there and got a little tour of that place, and I right then and there I changed my mind on what I wanted to go to school for and decided to turn towards turfgrass science.
Oh, that's awesome. And how did that get involved with? Was originally your goal was to be at Penn State, or where did you think you could go with your degree?
Yeah, coming out of college, I mean, my options were anywhere I had to move. I mean, I didn't expect to be this close to home. A lot of guys move states away, across the country, wherever they got to go, uh, because a lot of these uh, occupations are with sports teams, obviously, and so those are around major cities, and we don't have a lot of that around here. So yeah, I was expecting I would have to pick up and move.
What was the farthest you thought you could go?
Um, well, I had applied for a job in Idaho right before I was hired as the assistant groundskeeper for the State College Spikes. So I was willing to go to Idaho.
Oh wow, I bet that was a fun trip.
Yeah,
I know, but that's awesome. And I remember you getting that job with the Spikes. How'd that come about?
I really can't remember at this point. I had helped uh, just as a kind of a game day guy here and there, um, over there during the one season, and then I guess just through staying in contact with the head groundskeeper Matt Neary at the time over with the Spikes, he just asked me if I had a job lined up yet, and I didn't, and he asked if I would want to be his assistant for the season.
Hey, that works. I mean, at the time, the Spikes were still a part of Major League Baseball, and you got to see a lot of guys that, could potentially move up to the major league. So that was pretty much a fun moment for you, huh?
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun working over there. I spent 2 years there.
No, that's awesome. And then obviously you went to be a part of Penn State. How were you approached to be a part of that crew?
Um, that that's getting on the grounds crew at Penn State is a difficult uh, thing to do. It's we are a union, so when a job comes open, it's not like they can just uh, hire anybody. It has to. There's a whole process where uh, all the employees, all the union member employees at Penn State have a chance at the job before anybody outside of Penn State would even know that the job was available, and they usually get scooped up pretty quickly. But I was luckily able to uh, through that process. It went through the it went through the Penn State employees, and uh, they eventually were able to present it to the public. And I was my boss at the time knew I was interested, so through contact with him, we set up an interview process, and then there's a test involved as well. You have to pass a written test and a hands-on test to show that you're capable for the job.
So it's good to have connections, though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, big time.
Now, for those who don't realize, Beaver Stadium is arguably probably one of the biggest stadiums in the country. Especially in terms of college football. Getting to walk in there for your first season, it had to be nerve wracking. Even though you've been a long Penn State guy, to just be able to say, "Hey, I'm working in one of the largest stadiums in the country," it's got to be something to tip your cap off, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah, it was super cool.
And now, if you don't mind me asking, are you there during the games?
Yeah, typically on a typical game day, we'll come in depending on what time kickoff is. But if kickoff's at noon, we'll come in at 5 or 6 in the morning. Um, we set up the sidelines for the team, so we're putting out the sideline mat that goes on the grass that the players and all their equipment sit on during the game. We set those out, and along with benches, and depending on the time of year, we get the heaters out and heated benches, or uh, the air conditioning units for the benches, and we do that for the visitors as well, typically. But then once once that's all done, once kickoff starts, we're able to stand on the sideline and watch the game.
And what was your first game like?
I honestly don't even remember my first game.
It's been
It would have been yeah, it was a long time ago. I was a student at the time, so it's been a minute.
No, that's understandable. I mean, I remember when I got to do a little game for Hometown Sports, and it was it was the only time I ever gone to cover a Penn State game. I would like to do more someday, but the first time it was their home opener, and I could have sworn that, that we were having an earthquake because I could feel the stadium vibrate all the way through as the team was getting ready to come out, and I'm just like, holy moly! And that was just a home opener.
Yeah.
Like I can't even imagine being there on a weekly basis. I mean, and you kind of I mentioned earlier, you said about heaters. I've actually was always curious. Last year, Penn State hosted a SMU up at Beaver Stadium, and my goodness, that was cold and windy. I was like, what was that game like for you?
Yeah, that game was miserable. That was a cold game.
Oh my! I remember some people that, bless their hearts, they came all the way from Texas, SMU, and when they got the PA, they said I've never. And I'm like, trust me, it's good and bad, but I was like, oh, I couldn't imagine what you were going through there, Drew. Ugh.
Yeah.
What was it like? High mile-an-hour winds, and it's already cold enough as it was.
Yeah. Yeah. At least the sun was out. That helped a little bit. Not much, but it helped some.
It also helped the roar of the crowd and the excitement that Penn State not only hosted a playoff game, but they moved on to the next round.
Yeah, yeah.
And honestly, and probably one of the things that I've always been curious about as well, probably the busiest and craziest game, at least this is just my assumption, would have to be the whiteout games. What are preparing for those games like?
We prepare for those like we do any other game. There's not much on our end that differs. But yeah, they're definitely exciting games. You can feel the energy even before people start coming into the stadium.
Do you ever, like I said before, about like feeling like an earthquake happening? Has that ever happened to you with all the years you've been there?
Oh yeah, there's definitely been some moments during big games where it's deafening standing down on the field. I mean, when they show the quarterbacks struggling to hear in their helmets or struggling to make audibles, yeah, I can totally understand it because it gets loud.
Has that ever happened to you guys where you're like, "Hey, Drew, I need your help with something," and then they go walk away thinking that you're behind them, and then they turn around and you're still there, and you're like, "I told you to follow me." I'm like, "Dude, I can't hear you."
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, we carry radios with us just to communicate back and forth. And once the game starts, I don't even carry my radio anymore because I can't hear the thing.
Don't they have any kind of plugs to put in your ear to maybe help you out and like cancel the noise?
Yeah, the supervisors have those, but we don't. I
You,
usually I usually stand in the same spot for every game, so if I kind of feel like if they need me, they know where to find me, kind of thing.
no, that's fair enough. And actually, I'm legitimately curious. Where do you normally like to stand at during in the field during the games?
I usually stand on the home sideline. It's usually I think it's around like the 10-yard line uh, on the north end of the field.
So you try to stay near the end zone.
Yeah, pretty close to the end zone. If you're watching TV, I would be on the left side of the screen.
I'll have to keep a lookout this year.
Yeah.
And speaking of now, what do you guys do while the team is away? Like, do you guys still work on the field, or like is that only primarily for home games? So how does away games work for you?
Yeah, yeah, nothing changes really. I mean, uh even if there's a bye week or an away game, we still paint the field every week. Now we might change some things up. We might we might just paint the border of the field and the 5 yard lines and kind of let the numbers and the end zones kind of grow out some just to kind of give them a break because they get the most paint put down on them, and after week in and week out of getting painted, that can stress the grass out pretty good. Uh, but other than that, yeah, I mean we keep up with it the same as if it were a home game.
Now, I've always been curious: is Beaver Stadium natural grass or is it turf?
It's natural grass. Yep.
I've always wondered because, especially well, with all the sports and not just football, but turf seems to be like a big thing, and so I've always been curious if it was like natural grass or turf.
Yep. Yep. It's real.
Ah, now I know. But but yeah, no, and but I know for a fact you're probably. So what's the how do I say? What's the latest you guys work during the games? Do you guys like what's the latest you've ever worked?
Um, I do. It's been past 1 in the morning before that we've worked because we'll uh usually like noon 3:30 kicks. Once the game's over, we clean everything up. We'll sweep the field, get the sidelines tore down, and then the following day we will come back in and we'll do divots and fix any major damage, maybe mow the field. But night games recently we've been just staying after the game, and we've been making all the repairs after the game so that we don't have to come in early Sunday morning.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to be a guest on my podcast, because people don't realize the effort you guys have to put in. So you're telling, so yeah, you're telling me you're there like 6 a.m. for a noon kickoff, and then what, 1 a.m. when you're done with everything, basically?
Yeah, I mean they'll give us a break. I mean, it all depends on weather and things going on. But if we're doing a 7:30 kick, they might tell us to come in at maybe 10 or 11. But it still makes for a long day.
So was it like, what, 16 hours?
Yeah, something like that.
Yikes. Y'all need to show more appreciation to the grounds people. I love the effort, though. I will say you guys put into the fields, because every time I see like not just Penn State, but like every field when it comes to college football, the field looks absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. And speaking of getting stuff ready, let's talk a little bit about some of your favorite moments as a grounds crew. Like, do you have any favorite memories or moments during your time there?
Well, one of my more embarrassing moments would have to be a few years ago. They asked me and my coworker I usually watch the games with to chase a squirrel off the field. So that was one for the books for sure.
They had you chase a squirrel?
Yeah, there was a squirrel running up and down the field, and one of the equipment managers, I think, came over and asked us if we could try to chase it off the field.
Now, why is that such a big deal that, you got to chase off like animals off the field and stuff? Like, what are they afraid, like the players could like fall over it, or like what exactly is the reasoning?
That's what I assume. They don't want to go out and freaking out one of the players, I guess. I'm not sure.
I know it kind of reminds me of the one conversation I had about Randy Johnson, who threw a fastball and blew up a bird.
Oh, yeah.
Wonder if they thought something similar would happen in this situation. I still find it adorable that during soccer matches that a random dog would chase after the ball and then run to a player and expect its belly to be rubbed.
Yeah.
Was it only ever squirrels, or did you ever have like a dog or a bird come into the stadium?
We've had all kinds of stuff in the stadium. The squirrel's the only thing that's that I can remember being on the field during a game. But I mean, we've had raccoons, we've had porcupines, cats, rabbits, groundhogs, all kinds of stuff on the field before.
Jeez, and to be honest with you, I never noticed it was on TV.
Yeah, well, that stuff wasn't during games, thankfully, but that's just things that we've seen just on a regular day.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, we got to set this up. Like, we got to get rid of the squirrel. Jeez. And speaking of putting in work, let's talk a little bit about some current Penn State football. And the first thing I wanted to bring up, since when I was doing a preview story for Hometown, I noticed that the schedule, you have 4 straight home games for the Nittany Lions.
Yep.
I said, man, like, how do you pull that off in a scheduling?
Well, I'll say it's at least at the front end of the season, and that'll give us good weather to recover from the beating that the field's going to take with that many games and that many weeks. Because if these were scheduled for October into November, that field would definitely need resodded.
Ugh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But I will say this, though. I am interested to see how the team is. Last year the Nittany Lions made it all the way to the semifinals before being eliminated by, Notre Dame. But this year they got a lot of their guys back, so a lot of hype coming into for the team this year, huh?
Yeah, a lot of hype. a lot of people think they're going to be pushing for a national championship this year.
Well, it's quite possible. I mean, and this is just my humble opinion. I thought, they had a good run there, and they kind of seemed like they kind of died down just a little bit there at the end. Especially defensively. But now they came in with a new defensive coordinator in Jim Knowles, and they got a lot of their guys back. So it's like there's definitely a reason for it, and the quote unquote experts have them at number 3, only behind Texas and Ohio State. So there's definitely a lot of expectations coming in. Do you feel that when you go out and like practice on the field or hang around State College?
Um, I don't know. I mean, we don't interact with the team a ton, but if we're at the practice fields and the team's out there doing something, it definitely does seem like there's kind of a confidence to them, I guess.
Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, one of the reasons why I feel like they could make a good run is, well, actually, they have 2 reasons, and they're both running backs, and arguably maybe the best
Yeah,
running back duo in college football in Singleton and Allen. They're back, and I believe they're seniors this year.
I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, holy moly, when you got not one but 2 running backs that could easily go 100 yards a game, I mean, why not feel confident going into that?
Yeah, really.
And that ought to be fun too, being in the sidelines watching them hit explosive plays because they both had some pretty good runs
Uh,
last season.
oh yeah, yeah, they're fun to watch for sure.
And Drew Aller, like, what's it like watching him? Because I hear it all the time about him, and deservingly so. He's got a cannon of an arm. What's it like trying to watch someone throw a football like a missile?
It's definitely pretty impressive.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, like that to what you said, like during that game last year against SMU, the fact that he was still hurling that thing like a frisbee in the middle of a freezing weather and high winds, it just blew my mind.
Yeah, yeah, they're able to do some pretty amazing things.
Yeah, no, I mean, getting also just being a part of that, just getting to witness that. I mean, how would it feel for you, like to be like, oh wow, I'm on the grounds crew, and they could potentially, not only could potentially, but win a national title in football?
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I have not seen a national championship in my lifetime. Um, and that'd be cool to know that you're making a safe playing field for them to do their thing on.
No, absolutely, and not to mention, I mean, the closest I think you and I probably could have seen them win a national title was, I believe it was '94 when they won the Rose Bowl when they had Kajana Carter and all that guy. I believe that's '94.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. But no, that was an amazing team. And that was the first time I first started watching football. All was because of that team. And, obviously, I have an older brother, or, he got to go to Penn State as well and got to see a lot of cool things. But, and I've also been curious too. Have you guys ever been offered a chance to go to places since you guys work on there, or are you guys just strictly there to work on the field?
Yeah, we're pretty much there to work on the field. There was talk a few years ago because the heated benches and stuff can be pretty. It's not complicated, but it's just in depth in terms of how they get set up and hooked up to the propane tanks, everything like that. And there was talk of a couple of us traveling with the team for away games to help set the benches up, but I think they canned that and they just rent benches when they go on the road, and then the people they rent them from just come set them up for them.
Now, we talk about a lot about football, and deservingly so because it's probably the biggest thing in Penn State. But do you still help out at Medler Field?
Um, very very limited capacity. This past year they kind of got in a bind with between groundskeepers. One guy kind of he left. I think February he left, and Penn State was going to start uh, with their home opener the first week of March. So they kind of got into a panic with whether or not they were going to be able to play because they didn't have a head groundskeeper. So we were over there helping out quite a bit, just making sure they were good to go for the Penn State baseball season. But now that they have a head groundskeeper, he took the reins and he's been good. We might help out here and there with some equipment, but in terms of labor, we really don't do much.
No, and maybe for the viewers here that are watching this, explain the difference between like working a baseball field and a football field.
Well, the main difference would be with baseball, most of your time is going to be spent on the dirt. Um, the grass is kind of secondary when it comes to baseball. Your main focus is the infield and keeping that as level as possible, keeping the right amount of moisture in it, and keeping it firm but not too firm, that kind of deal. So, yeah, really, your main focus is the mound and the plate and the dirt with baseball. You're not so much worried about the grass other than just keeping it looking nice and mowing it.
No, no, absolutely. Do you prefer one or the other, or does it really matter to you?
If I had to pick, I would choose baseball. But baseball is just way more of a time commitment. I mean, just at the minor league level, we only had, I think the Spikes only had like 38 home games compared to an MLB 80 or 81, I guess. And that was, I mean, a 6-game homestand. You're coming in every day at least 9 o'clock, if not earlier, depending on the weather. And you're there until 11 o'clock or midnight, and then you're coming back in the next day doing the same thing. It just got to be too much with having a family and kids. But I definitely enjoyed baseball more so, I would say. And I do get to do some of that still because we take care of the Penn State softball field. So I do still get some of that work.
Again, I stress we must show more appreciation to the grounds crew people. Now, have you ever worked on turf before, Drew?
Yeah, we have several artificial turf fields. So inside Haluba Hall, that's a full-size artificial turf football field that football uses, but during the winter, other sports from soccer to men's and women's lacrosse to golf to softball to baseball, they all use it. And then football has an outdoor artificial turf field. And then in terms of game fields, Panzer Stadium is artificial turf. That's for lacrosse, men's and women's. And then the field hockey field is also artificial turf.
Now, what is the difference between natural grass and artificial turf?
Well, artificial turf is obviously fake, and it's just like plastic fibers that are made to look like grass, and then we will fill that. It's stitched to a backing, and then it's laid out, and then we'll go back. Well, we don't do it, but the company that lays it will go back through with crumb rubber and sand, and instead of having like sand or soil, you're playing on rubber and sand.
Now, do you prefer one or the other? Or do you think one's easier to take care of than the other, or is it all like difficult just in different ways?
Artificial turf is definitely easier to maintain. But in terms of safety to the players, I think real grass is definitely much safer.
No, absolutely, because you've been hearing that a lot. I remember the first time, Mifflin County High School has artificial turf on their baseball field, and I went to go cover it for hometown one time, and just to get to hang out with the coaches and all that. And I stepped onto the field, and I'm not gonna lie, it felt weird. It felt like carpet.
Yeah, yeah, and it's if it gets used hard, the rubber and sand they can move around quite a bit, quite easily, and if it's not maintained properly, you get a real uneven surface real quick, and then it's not as easy to level out as it might be with a natural grass field where you can just top dress with some sand and get it back level. It takes a lot of work to move that sand and rubber around to get everything flattened back out.
I can't even imagine. I mean, I remember, even the dirt, everything about it was artificial, even the dirt. And I remember a kid from Mountain Union who was playing Mifflin County. He tried to steal second, and he went to slide head first, and holy moly, he just like stopped. Like he didn't even make it to the base. They dragged him out. Granted, they just recently opened it, so they're still trying to break it in. But I just remember watching that, and I'm like, well, that's different. I,
Yeah.
I could also hear the cursed words of Nick Imperioli from Beyond the Grave when I saw that. He was big on natural grass in Mountain Union, and if anyone from Mountain Union's listening for this, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I mean, I guess hopefully they get used to it and the kids stay safe. I mean, Coach Hopple was telling me stories about a kid did like an infield single, and normally you could just pick it up and throw it. But the problem was the ball stopped before the got even to the glove, so the kid was able to make it to first. I'm like, geez, that's
Oh,
something.
wow.
Yeah. And I actually would like to talk to him more about that someday. But yeah, no, it is like I don't know the main reason behind turf when it comes to turf fields, but I guess it's here to stay, and I guess it's something that people are gonna have to get used to. But it is a little weird sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely different to walk on. You can definitely feel the difference.
Do you feel like it's easier to move in turf field compared to like natural grass?
Like you mean in terms of like running and things like that?
Yeah, like when you're out practicing or like you're playing a game, like do you feel like it's easier to move around compared to natural grass?
I mean, I've never played on artificial turf, but I just from being on it and working on it, it's a lot. I mean, for the most part, I mean, the fields are going to differ, but overall, I think artificial turf fields are a lot softer than natural grass, and so it kind of gives under your foot more as you step into it.
No, absolutely. And I will say, I guess my last question I've always wanted to ask you was, well, what are the things that you guys have to do during the off season to maintain the field? Is it normally the same thing that you guys do, or is it still long hours? Like, what is the effort that people don't realize about grounds crew people during the off seasons?
Um, yeah, during the off seasons, we will kind of beat the crap out of the fields. We do a thing called verticutting, which is a machine we use. Kind of has circular saw blade looking deals on it, and they spin real fast, but they don't go deep into the ground. They're just going in the first, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch maybe, and it's just to get the thatch out of the ground. Um, and then we will aerate as well behind that. And that's pulling a 3 to 4 inch core of soil out of the ground, and we will sweep those up, get rid of them, and then we'll come back through with I don't even know how many tons of sand, and we'll spread that sand across the entire field, and that helps us get ourselves well, a couple of reasons. I mean, if it fills the holes in that we just made, that'll help with drainage, give some pore space for roots to grow into. And the sand also helps to, excuse me, to level out the surface, make it flatter, safer to be on.
No, absolutely. And actually, I just now came up with another question. I saw that the biggest game of the year, at least right now at Beaver Stadium, will be the whiteout this year against Oregon. Who, if anybody watched Penn State last year, they lost to Oregon in a Big Ten title game, and now here they are looking for some payback. That's probably going to be an exciting game for you, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that game. 7:30 kick in September. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you so much, Drew, for coming on today, explaining the efforts that is put into for these fields. And I really respect more what you groundskeeper guys are doing. The more I look into it, and getting to talk to you. So I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, no problem. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and to anyone that's watching, if you go watch any more college football or any other sport, just show a little appreciation to the effort that these groundspeople do. I mean, they're putting in a lot of effort and putting in a lot of hours.
Oh yeah.
And I just want to say once again, thank you so much, Drew, for coming on. And to anybody out there listening, I love you all, and God bless and be safe, everybody.